Hi, and welcome to the little apartment on the prairie. I thought today I'd talk about clothing and repairing clothing. Here comes Isaac for his treat because he hears me talking. He's like, if you're not going to pay attention to me, you can give me a treat. So, I read something somewhere that the average American throws away 81 pounds of clothing every year. Now, I'd read somewhere else that we threw away a certain amount of textiles per year, and I tried to find that statistic, and what I found when I was looking for it was 81 pounds of clothing. If that's only talking about clothing, and then we throw away other things, like maybe you throw away bed linens or towels or other things, I just can't imagine. I doubt I even throw away a pound of clothing a year. And that's talking about throwing away too, not donating, I don't even know if that number's right. But that's a huge number, even if it's just all like fabric things that we throw away, not clothing only. But that's huge. And so I can't remember the last time I threw away a whole garment. I use fabric, like the fabric in clothing or in a bed sheet or whatever, until you just can't use it anymore. I mean, I'm going to show you a couple of items of clothing that I've mended. I mend everything. I mend socks and underwear, which I know sounds strange to some people, but I do. So what I would throw away, like the shirt that I have on right now, it's been mended. You can't tell unless you look really closely. This button, it doesn't quite match the other two buttons. It's close, but the bottom button fell off and I lost it. I couldn't find it, so I sewed a different button on. So that's been mended. But when this shirt, which is getting worn pretty thin in some spots, I might patch it or mend it in some way. But when it's like too worn out to be used as a shirt anymore, I will cut it up and I will take off the buttons and save the buttons. I'll cut out the parts with like the buttonholes and the seams, and then I'll have pieces of fabric that I can make something out of. I don't know what I'll make out of it. T-shirts, I sometimes sew them into like cloth shopping bags. Shirts with buttons and stuff don't work as well for that. Some clothing I turn into cloth menstrual pads. I might use the parts of the clothing to patch and mend other clothing. I might use it to make a quilt. You see this wall hanging behind me? That was all made out of scraps. Man, I'm not good at positioning my camera where I want it to go. That was all made out of scraps of clothing or other material that had all been used, it had been used for at least one thing before it became a wall hanging. The tiny scraps, like this strip where the buttonholes are, for instance, or the strip of, like the collar, those things will probably be too small or too, not really useful in reusing for something else. And I save scraps of fabric like that a lot. I've used them to like stuff cushions or pillows, or I made one, I don't know what you call them, some people call them door snakes, those rolls of things that you put against your door in the winter so cold air doesn't come under the bottom. So, I use scraps of fabric to stuff that. So what I throw away might be like when the pair of shorts that I'm wearing, and I'm going to show you where I mended my shorts in a minute. I had a hole. Let's see if you can see it well. You gotta get the lighting right. Can you see this patch? I really like this patch. It was from a different pair of jeans the patch came from, and I just sewed it on, and I sewed it at kind of a tilted it because I thought it looked a little bit more decorative that way. And I super glued my finger to the leg of my shorts a couple years ago when I was trying to repair some sandals where the strap had broken, and that repair was not so successful. but when I like pulled my finger away from my pants, it actually ripped it made a little hole. You can see in the back of the shorts it made a little hole. So I just sewed a patch over it, and I like the way the patch looks. So I'm happy with it. Of course, I've mended things where you just like sew the hem or sew a button, the same button that fell off, you sew it back on, that kind of thing. I also darn socks, and I'm going to do a video sometime on darning socks, but I love wool socks in the winter. They're so warm. And so most of my wool socks now I've had for a few years. They've gotten some holes because I do a lot of walking. You can see where I've darned them. Which is basically you take a wool thread, or like I use like small yarn, thin yarn, skinny yarn, whatever, and basically reweave the fabric of the sock where the hole is. And down there I did. So I try to do to like darn the socks when I see holes develop, like, which I mostly notice when I'm doing laundry and putting socks away. But then in the spring, at the end of the winter every year, I go through all my winter clothing and see if there's anything that needs mended so that I can get that done. And I still have a hole on the lining of my winter coat that I need to sew that I haven't fixed yet this year, but that way in the fall when I get out the winter clothing, it's all mended, and I make sure all my summer clothing is mended before I put it away for the winter. So what I would throw away, like if I were, when these shorts fall apart, like sometimes they just start getting holes in the crotch and the butt and you can't really fix them very well. I would cut out the zipper, and I don't normally save zippers. I'll save buttons from shirts or other clothing, but I don't usually save zippers. Actually, these shorts don't have a zipper because they've got the elastic waist. But if it was shorts with a zipper, I would cut out the zipper. These have a drawstring in the waist, so I would pull out the drawstring and use that for something. But when I cut out the zippers, like I usually throw that piece away. I don't use it for stuffing because it's not soft. It's got a zipper in there, although if you put it in the middle of a pillow or a cushion, you probably wouldn't notice. But most of the rest of the fabric, like the fabric that's around the hole that's in the leg that I mended, I would probably just use that piece of fabric as stuffing or something, because it wouldn't even be good for mending. But a lot of the fabric I would use for mending, or I'd make something. You know, I might do a braided rug, I might do a crocheted rug, I don't know, but I could make something. And sometimes I'll take, like on this shirt, I don't know if you can see, around the hem, there's just this narrow little hem. And so I might cut that out and use it basically like as a cord or a string to tie something. I might use it like a ribbon to tie a package that I wrapped in fabric, or anyway, so like what I would throw away from this clothing would probably be the zipper on my, oh goodness, cats, the zipper on shorts, if my shorts had a zipper, and my flip-flops when they break or get, you know, holes in them, or the straps break or whatever. That's what I was trying to mend on a different pair of sandals with super glue that didn't work. You know, that's what I would actually throw away. These wool socks I probably wouldn't throw away. They'd become stuffing. The elastic on my underwear, when it breaks down, I might throw the elastic away. The rest of the underwear would probably become stuffing, or I might use it like as a rag for cleaning or something. Eventually your cleaning rag is going to be like shredded up to pieces, or some of my clothing that ends up turned into rags. At some point there will be something really messy and gross to clean up, like the dog vomits, and he eats a raw diet, so like you can imagine it's not just like dog food that he throws up. It's disgusting. So Sometimes when I have to clean up something like that, I will just use an old rag that I don't want to keep, that I don't mind throwing away because I've gotten so much use out of it and I have so many rags, I don't need it. So then that would get thrown away. Pillows eventually get thrown away, although not for a really long time, because Isaac will lay his head on a pillow, the cats will sleep on a pillow, even when it's like gross enough that I don't want to sleep on it, or it's just all lumpy and not comfortable anymore. But eventually, you know, there's some kind of foam stuff or whatever inside, so the pillow would eventually get thrown away. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff, the amount of fabric that I throw away in a year is really small. There might be ends of yarn or thread that I throw away. You know, if I'm crocheting and I have this much yarn left, or that I trim off of something. Sassy, quit licking Isaac. He doesn't want you to clean his butt. She really wants to clean his butt, and he does not like it. I'll be right back. All right. I'm back. Sassy has been relegated to the bathroom, otherwise known as cat jail, where she has about 6 toys and a litter box and a food and water bowl and my nightgown to sleep on. She doesn't really feel like she's being punished. She doesn't feel like she's in jail. Anyway, she won't leave Isaac alone. So, but that's like the fabric that I throw away in a year. You know, the elastic from a worn out pair of underwear, a cleaning rag that I use to clean up something really disgusting. Maybe that little bit of fabric that's on a shoe that you can't really reuse for something. And the little bits of yarn or thread that you end up with when you're sewing or crocheting or whatever. You know, I made fringe on the end of a crocheted blanket and trimmed off the little ends so it was even. Those little ends I mostly throw away, although they could also go in a bag of cloth scraps for stuffing. That's the fabric I throw away in a year, and how I just mend and reuse fabrics. So tell me what you do with, you know, your fabric, or how much fabric you think you throw away in a year. I'm tempted to actually save all the fabric for a year and see what it comes out to. I guess it could be a pound or two, maybe. I can't imagine mine would be anywhere close to 81 pounds. Let me know if you think your fabric that you throw away is 81 pounds or not. That just seems like so much to me. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can hit the little bell, and YouTube is supposed to notify you when I post new videos. And have a good day.